Imagine a world where all of a sudden everything stops. The lights go out, the screens go dark, and the silence becomes deafening. This is not the beginning of a sci-fi movie, but a possible reality, a national blackout that paralyzes an entire country. In an era where we depend on technology for nearly every aspect of our lives, such an interruption is not just an inconvenience, it's an existential crisis. When the lights went out in Spain, it wasn't just a technical problem. It was a revelation, a mirror held up to our collective fragility. On April 28, 2025, part of Europe woke up in darkness. Spain, Portugal, and southern France were paralyzed. Trains stopped, cities went dark, supermarkets descended into chaos. In a world where everything pulses through invisible threads of electricity, a blackout is no longer just an event. It's a symptom. But what really happened? Cyber attack. Although a cyber attack was initially considered, Spanish authorities ruled out this option, stating there is no evidence to support it. Extreme temperature variations. The Portuguese electricity grid operator suggested that a rare atmospheric phenomenon in Spain, caused by massive temperature fluctuations, may have triggered synchronization failures between systems. Technical problems in the European grid. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez mentioned a strong oscillation in the European power grid as a possible cause of the electricity outage. In 2015, a study published in MDP analyzed risks in the European transmission system, highlighting vulnerabilities related to overloads, human error, and hidden protection failures. In 2021, the Austrian Armed Forces and the Austrian Society for Crisis Preparedness warned about the possibility of a large-scale European blackout within the next 5 years, emphasizing the interdependence of critical infrastructure and the lack of adequate preparedness. In 2023, an article in Science Direct analyzed power outages in Europe, highlighting correlations between energy demand, wind production, and blackout risk. In 2024, Reuters reported that the European power grid requires over $2 trillion in investments by 2050 to meet growing demand and integrate renewable sources, warning of the risk of blackouts similar to the recent one in Spain and Portugal. Imagine waking up and everything is silent. The lights don't work, your phone has no signal, the internet is gone, your bank is offline, the supermarket is in darkness, you can't pay for anything. You can't go anywhere. No one tells you anything. No alert, no sound, just darkness. How long can you last without power? How long can you last without power? How long can we live in a world that's gotten used to never stopping? A world where people have forgotten what it means to be human. A world where AI decides what you see, what you believe, and what you feel. Robots politely smiling in supermarkets, synthetic voices reading you the news, algorithmic recommendations choosing your friends, your music, your future. Have you ever wondered who controls the system, who wrote the code, who holds the plug, and when will they pull it? We live between screens, where reality is shaped by attention, where data is more valuable than truth. And in the digital silence, people drift apart. We are connected, but more alone than ever. And then the question arises, what happens when even the connection disappears, when the network crashes, when the internet dies, when AI shuts down, not by mistake, not by human error, but by a silent collapse, by an apagone? In Spain, the power vanished. Entire cities were plunged into darkness. In a world where every click matters, there was silence, not just on the streets, but in souls. Then Portugal, then southern France, a continent hanging by 2 wires, a civilization that trembles at the first voltage fluctuation. Who's next? Chile has already fallen. England is on the edge, Romania, Italy, Germany. any of them, because it's no longer just about energy. It's about trust, about dependence, about how unprepared we are for the dark. It's a question. It's a signal. It's the reality that only shows itself when the lights go out. It's no longer just darkness. It's that void where all plans come to a halt, where all screens go black and the sounds fade away. There's nothing left to post, nothing left to check, no one left to call. And then you begin to feel something you haven't felt in a long time. You feel time, real time, the minutes that pass slowly without notifications, the hours when you have to rely on yourself, on others, on a candle, on intuition. You realize all that power was an illusion, that without electricity, we return to what we truly are, human, fragile, real. When the lights go out, the only things left are the silence, the thoughts, and the truth you've been avoiding for so long. It's not about the cable. It's about what was connected through it, and how dependent you had become on it. It's about awareness, about that moment of reset, when you finally see what truly matters, only when everything stops. With or without power, with or without technology, each of us matters, not for what we have, but for who we are when the system collapses. If another outage comes tomorrow, another blackout, another crisis, it won't be electricity that keeps us alive. It will be humanity, what we've forgotten but still carry within us, what was never plugged in, only connected to the heart. It's about light, but not the kind you plug in, the kind you carry inside. If you liked what you heard, if it made you think, you can support this channel with a like and a subscription, not for the algorithm, but for trust, because every reaction tells us we're not alone in feeling that the world is changing. And in the moments when everything seems to stop, we need each other more than ever.